Hi, it's Tony Marino, host of the super popular Newsmax Daily podcast, a rundown of the day's top headlines and top highlights of Newsmax shows and interviews you may have missed, plus some sports, stock markets, and even some yucks, all packed into about 20 minutes. Search for the Newsmax Daily with me, Tony Marino, on your favorite podcast platform, and check out our entire lineup of great podcasts, including Greg Kelly, Rob Carson, and Jerry Callahan at newsmax.com/listen.
1, 2, 3.
Hold it now.
1, 2.
You are about to hear the most interesting, informative, thought-provoking, and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
New numbers showing the dramatic change at the border.
We've got the most controlled border we've ever had in the history, in my lifetime in the Border Patrol.
In Eagle Pass, Texas, during the Biden administration, more than 2,000 migrants crossed into the U.S.
You thought I was going to talk about Middle East peace. Well, I'm going to.
In a single day. But now, under President Trump's policies, officers encounter just 20 migrants a day here.
What?
Tonight, DHS...
This is NBC having to admit that Donald Trump has done a great job with the border.
Touting the lowest number of illegal border crossings since 1970.
What?
And Border Patrol Chief Mike Banks tells us they'll expand the 1 mile of defensive buoys on the Rio Grande.
We've got about 500 miles identified across the entire Texas border where we're going to place these in the river.
Is this the new wall?
It's defense in depth.
We were here 2 years ago where migrants used to carry children on their backs to get across this river and cut through this barbed wire to get to the United States. They would see hundreds, even thousands a day in this very spot. But today, it's silent.
North in Del Rio, border residents telling us they're thrilled crossings are down.
We want our community back normal.
Well, that's NBC News, for God's sake. Oh, my God, NBC News actually recording the facts. It's like they're dead or something, and they're trying to, I don't know, revitalize their journalistic credibility and maybe even their, viewership. It's kind of wild, isn't it, though? Because I'm pretty sure that the Democrat Party said that wasn't possible unless we pass big legislation and all that and another border bill and everything. And even old Hakeem Jeffries, this just like weeks ago, said, we need comprehensive border control. No, we don't, because we already got it, you moron.
There is a significant increase in the number of people coming to the border.
Sounds to most folks like a crisis.
Well, look, it's way down now. We've now gotten control.
We're making progress, but it's not going to evidence itself overnight.
And she has been addressing the root causes of migration. We've actually seen some reductions in some of those numbers.
Do you have plans to visit?
Well, that is Jen Psaki saying that, the border crossings were way up, but they're down a little bit. It kind of like sounds what they're doing in places like Chicago, where they defunded the police and crime went up like 2,000%, and it's come down 20% since then from going up 2,000%, and they claim that's some sort of victory. No, it doesn't work that way. Anyway, welcome to the show. Please come inside. A lot of stuff on the show today. I wanted to mention that, and then I got some others. I want to get to this Middle East peace deal that's going on. And by the way, this is just basically to release the hostages now. This isn't the whole deal. This isn't the whole shebang, as they like to call it, because the shebang is coming. I'm going to tell you, and if Hamas tries anything, they're going to go shebang big time. So we'll get to all of that as the show progresses. But here's something kind of interesting. You know that Jay Jones guy who's running for AG in Virginia, and he said he wanted to murder the House Speaker in Virginia and his children and all that. He had these text messages, and then all the Democrats are saying, everybody talks about murdering people and blowing their heads off and killing their children. I mean, hell, if I had $1 for every time I've said I want to murder my opponent and kill their children and laugh about it, come on, I'd be rich. Well, it's beginning to have an effect. Jason Miyares running as a Republican for AG of Virginia, now ahead of Jay Jones, 46-42, which means, by the way, he's really ahead by 8. So there you go. That's some kind of good news, and that's kind of good news. And then listen to this, because the Democrats are saying that Donald Trump's going to get beat in the midterms because it's the midterms. That's the only reason. And then if I say why they're not going to, I've got 100 reasons, and most of them have to do with the Democrat Party being on the wrong side of history, the wrong side of everything, and not learning anything for 2024. So there's that. If they think they're going to win the midterms because it's the midterms with how bat guano crazy they are, good luck with that. Good luck with that. CBS News confirms anti-woke... Nope, that's the wrong one. The one I'm trying to say is that when it comes to the race for governor in the state of New York, Kathy Hochul is now neck and neck with Elise Stefanik. And you know why that is? It's because Kathy Hochul decided to endorse Zohran Mamdani. And when people find out that she voted and is endorsing Zohran Mamdani, the race is within a point. So if Zohran wins, it's going to really give the rest of the state and hopefully the Democrat Party a well-deserved colonoscopy with regard to supporting Democrats. So there you go. There's a couple pieces of good news with regarding to the races and everything that's going on in the country and the trajectory of the Democrat Party, which is a tailspin into hell. The Democrat Party is on a tailspin into hell. So there is that. But we got to talk a little bit about this peace deal. I don't know if you knew this, but there's a real possibility of peace in the Middle East for the first time in millennia. And this will be another opportunity for the Democrats to be proven completely wrong, the liberal media to be proven completely wrong, because they've been completely wrong about everything for about as long as Donald Trump's been around. Since he came down the escalator. They've been wrong about everything, and they still act like they've been right about everything. But you see, they've been wrong about everything. So do you understand? I'm explaining it very softly and gently for the Democrats or people who went to a major university in the last decade or so. But it looks like there's a possibility of some peace in the Middle East. Donald Trump's negotiated a release of the hostages over there. And then if Hamas decides to screw around, Donald Trump's basically saying, go ahead, make my day. Here is Donald Trump last night on the telephone. No, he was on with Hannity last night. He did a lengthy interview with Sean Hannity last night.
Well, thank you very much, Sean. It's a great honor to be involved in it. We had some tremendous help, as you know, with everybody from Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner and Marco. We had everybody. JD, the whole group was just amazing. And
I think next year when the pools are open, you should play a game called Marco Rubio instead of Marco Polo, because he's doing such a great job. Marco Rubio!
Military was, as you know, very instrumental in getting this done. We have a great military with great leadership. The whole world came together, to be honest. So many countries that you wouldn't have even thought of it. They came together. The world has come together around this deal. And that's something I would say that without that wouldn't happen. So many countries that you wouldn't have thought of have wired their best wishes and their...
Yeah, and you know what he used to get people to come to the table? Tariffs.
Commitment to do whatever is necessary.
Yeah.
The countries surrounding have all signed. I mean, they're all signed up, and it's been really.
Remember when Donald Trump went over to Qatar and to Saudi Arabia, and they said they were going to each give trillions of dollars to the United States to bring manufacturing there? That was part of this. By the way.
An amazing period of time, and so great for Israel, so great for Muslims, for the Arab countries, and so great for this country, for the United States of America, and that we could be involved in, making a deal like this happen, because it was, many years they talked about peace in the Middle East. This is more than Gaza. This is peace in the Middle East.
Wow, that's pretty amazing stuff, because I know a lot of people who didn't come back from the Middle East after signing up for the military after 9/11, and then the ones that did come back have profound mental and physical injuries and stuff like that. So that's kind of good news, right? But the Democrat Party, Hakeem Jeffries came out and said, yeah, but if Joe Biden were the president yesterday, here's what he would have done. And he got this list out. And he says, he would have put a lid on it at 9 a.m. and crapped his pants. So there's that. Here is the phone call yesterday that Howard Letnick got, saying that the hostages that Hamas has had for 2 years are going to be freed.
They want to say something. Is that right? All right, hold on. President Trump, you have the best crowd in the world. What do you guys have to say to President Trump?
Thank you. Hello.
Thank you very much, everybody.
You did it!
Wow.
You did it!
Thank you.
There you go. Yeah, and by the way, if Kamala Harris were the president yesterday, she would have hit the box Chardonnay at 9 a.m., and that's about all she would have done. That's about pretty much all she would have done. So there is that. Here is Donald Trump explaining how he used the T word, and I know that many of you are terrified of the T word. You know, it was going to destroy the economy, and you were standing on a building ledge, and you were ready to jump to your death with your Wall Street Journal tucked under your arm. But you see, the T word's pretty great for a lot of different reasons.
Well, I develop relationships with people, and sometimes those relationships lead to great things. And in the case of many of the Arab nations, the wealthiest nations in the world, if you look, although with what we've done in the United States, I think we top everybody by a lot with the tariffs and all of that. But, you know, having the ability to deal with trade, having the ability to use tariffs to help me make a point.
What?
The tariffs have brought peace to the world. I'm telling you, they've brought peace to the world. And not only here, but with
because he kind of took over the money supply. And if you want to be in the get-along gang, you might want to do that if your country doesn't want to, descend into hell with their economies. It's kind of nice when Superman comes back, isn't it?
Many other deals. You know, I've made 7 peace deals where countries were, in many cases, 30, 31 years.
How many peace deals did Joe Biden get? I don't know, but he started a war.
135, 137 years they've been fighting and millions of people being killed, and I brought peace. And I did it through, and not all cases, but probably in at least 5 of the 7 that we've done so far. It was through trade. That we're not going to deal with people that fight. We're not going to deal, and we're going to put tariffs on you.
Yeah, he told basically India and Pakistan, he said, you either figure things out or I'm going to tariff the crap out of both of you, and then you won't be able to fund your wars with each other, so you might as well just sign a peace deal now.
We're not going to let you deal in the United States. We'll put tariffs on you. And
I know.
Without the tariffs, I mean, far more than even the money that we're taking in, which is trillions of dollars, essentially trillions of dollars. Far much more importantly, it gives you a tremendous road to peace and the saving of millions of lives.
Isn't that amazing? Saving lives instead of, just relying on the military-industrial complex to make billions of dollars and make sure there's a stream of young men being led off to war to be murdered and then replace their munitions and all of that after they're dead and then get more of it. Isn't that kind of weird how that changes? Isn't that kind of crazy what happens when Superman comes back? By the way, Superman is having his meeting with the Hall of Justice. I like to call that the cabinet meeting. That's going on right now. I'm sure a lot of good stuff happening there. We got a lot of good news on this. We got a lot of bad news for Antifa, because yesterday there was a big meeting in the White House to talk about how the DOJ and the FBI are going to destroy Antifa, destroy all these left-leaning organizations that have caused so much havoc, and so all of these idiots are going to have to actually get jobs or go to jail. We got all of that. We got Blaine Holt's going to join us at the bottom of the hour to talk about the peace deal, among other things. So we got a banging show today. It's only going to get better. I wouldn't go anywhere if I were you. This is the Rob Carson Show.
Sending troops to Memphis, Tennessee, 'cause it looks like Memphis could use some help from me. The mayor has done nothing to put criminals away. Memphis needs our help, and they need it there today. The city's run by Democrats who defunded police. They can't do their jobs or maintain the peace. I'm sending in the guard. Memphis needs it bad. Their mayor, Paul Young, that guy's really sad. Voted the most dangerous place in the USA. Wouldn't want to live there. Wouldn't want to stay. Sending in the guard. That goal, it was mine. Democrats in Memphis, listen to them whine. Portland is mess. Their mayor must confess it's a city overrun with thugs. We will hit them hard. I'm sending in the guard. They'll wipe out the crime and all the drugs. Listen up, Antifa. It's become my endeavor. When you out of Portland forever, gotta put this to an end. I promise you, Antifa, the National Guard will defeat ya. With their batons they will greet ya. You can bet they're not your friend.
He's a liberal. He's as left as Francis was. I mean Pope Leo from Chicago. People say that. They are saying that because he wants the border completely open. Dick Durbin is pro-choice, but Leo doesn't care. He will defend him and befriend him. At JD took a shot. Conservative, he's not by a mile. How did we wind up with another liberal pope? I'm talking Leo from Chicago. It's just like Francis. We will somehow have to cope and then get through it. How can we do it?
This morning, Pope Leo and the White House engaging in a thinly veiled battle over what it means to be pro-life.
If you want to hear someone slamming Trump, listen to Leo from Chicago. Pope Leo. Pope Leo, Pope Leo.
The Rob Carson Show podcast is everywhere. Go to Newsmax.com/listen for details.
It is the Rob Carson Show on a already Thursday. I'm kind of excited. I got invited to a little to-do at the Kennedy Center tonight. It's kind of cool. Yeah, I'm going to be hanging out there with Megyn Kelly's going to be there tonight, and Pete Hegseth is going to be there tonight. Yeah, and me, I'm going solo because, you know, I'm recently single. So I'm going to be going solo to things for a while, but anyway, I'm quite excited about it. I'm looking forward to it. It's quite a to-do. I got a new suit and everything a couple weeks ago. It's blue. Blue's a really big deal here in the Capitol. I asked if it was black tie. I don't have a tuxedo because I've lost like 65 pounds, so it doesn't fit anymore. But I will definitely send you some pictures. I will post them online if you want to from tonight. Hanging out with Pete Hegseth and Megyn Kelly. It's going to be pretty cool. I'm pretty excited about it. The government shutdown still continues. I don't know if you heard Hakeem Jeffries kind of had a little argument yesterday in the hall. He looks like a complete moron. He's an ineffectual minority leader. Here is Hakeem Jeffries in the halls of Congress yesterday.
We've got a one-year extension. Why don't we sign on right now?
Let me ask you a question. Did you get permission from your boss?
Why don't we sign on right now?
Did your boss, Donald Trump?
You can easily extend the ACA right now.
Did your boss, Donald Trump, give you permission? Yes, he is.
No, he's not.
You voted for the one big ugly bill, correct?
I voted for a tax cut bill that gave the largest tax cut to Americans in history, including, by the way, the average New Yorker getting a $4,000 tax cut. Are you against that?
You're not going to talk. You're not going to talk to me. You're not going to talk to me and talk over
non-New
me
York residents
because you don't want to hear what I have to say.
Oh, I'm listening.
So why don't you just keep your mouth shut?
You did a great job there.
Yourself because you're afraid.
I'm not trying to.
That is Mike Lawler talking to Hakeem Jeffries, and if he said that to me, if he said, "How about you keep your mouth shut?" I'd say, I'd lean into his ear and say, "Why don't you try to shut me up?" That's what I would have done. But, he's not me. But anyway, Hakeem Jeffries, the Democrats looking like complete morons. Yesterday, here's Chuck Schumer decided to act like a tough guy. He looks like a gargoyle who has some sort of osteoporosis. I think he looks like a gargoyle. He does. He looks like a gargoyle with osteoporosis. And here he is acting like a tough guy yesterday talking about Donald Trump.
So now we're in a government shutdown. And you may be asking yourself, how the hell did we get here? It's a disgrace. So Democrats have 3 words for this.
What?
No way.
That's really badass. They are in the position to demand not a damn thing. Nothing, because everything they did was screw up the country. Every metric of quality of life in America the last 5 years descended into the pits of hell with idiots like that in charge. And he's been in Congress since 1981. And he hasn't done anything but get osteoporosis and guard a cathedral. Here is Hakeem Jeffries being confronted yesterday because he's not going to give an endorsement to Zoran Mandami, the communist. But listen, if Zoran won, I'll bet you Democrats would suddenly say, "Oh, we're all for it. We're all for it and everything." But they don't want to take that shot right now because they're all a bunch of cowards. Here is Hakeem being asked about why aren't you endorsing the communist who hates the Jews?
Ploy because you're so afraid of Zoran Mandami. By the way, when are you endorsing him?
By the way,
do you endorse him for mayor?
First of all, are you
going to endorse him for mayor?
Listen, you're a complete and total embarrassment right now.
Oh no! I'm thinking you guys are the embarrassments. I mean, really? You want to go there?
Is that because you don't want to answer the question?
Is this supposed to be a video for your failed
re-election? You don't want to answer
the
question? Do you support Zoran? By the way, did you see his...
You guys are an embarrassment. Honestly, the Democrat Party is a complete embarrassment. This is John Kennedy yesterday talking. This is one of the best lines, by the way. Kennedy comes up with new stuff. I call him the king of colloquial. He was asked about Chuck Schumer, mouthing off, saying, give a bleep, whatever the hell. Here he is talking about Chuck Schumer in only the way that John Kennedy could talk.
Senator Schumer he's nervous as a pregnant nun about losing his re-election to the socialist wing of his party, led by Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, which is in control. Now, we will eventually come out of this shutdown. Here's how I think it will happen. Senator Schumer.
Yeah, Chuck.
Is a smart man.
No,
he's been around a long time.
Yeah, that's true.
His first car was a Chariot. Washington is all he's ever known his entire life. He knows he's on shaky ground here in terms of policy. That's so here's how I think it'll end.
Well, how's it going to end?
Schumer will go to 6 or 8 of his colleagues and say, Democrats, of course, and say, I want you to vote to lift the shutdown. Now, he'll say, I can't vote with you. I've got to appear to be tough.
Yes.
I may even have to criticize you, but wink, wink, nod, nod.
Yes.
I'm trying to make the loon wing of the party love me, but you bail me out here.
There you go. Yeah, I think he's spot on, but he usually is. Schumer is nervous as a pregnant nun. I love that. That is just genius. I love that stuff. There's nobody on the Democrat Party who has a sense of humor or the intelligence to write a joke like that. He's amazing. I hear his new book is full of those jokes, by the way. We've got much more on this Middle East peace deal going on, the release of the Gaza, the hostages that the Hamas is holding. We're going to talk to Blaine Holt. He is a Brigadier General, retired. Going to talk about that on the other side of the break, get his perspective on that. Going to get into also this summit yesterday on Capitol Hill regarding Antifa and how Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, and others are going to wipe Antifa from the face of the earth, not just in America. Antifa's run roughshod all over the country, and still the media denies they even exist, even though they've left billions of dollars in damage, thousands of police officer injuries, even murders. And they wear a uniform, and they're all over the world, and yet CNN says they don't exist. So that's all coming up, but Blaine Holt is next. Don't go anywhere. Oh, bam.
The Democrats shut down and them all even down will be a gift to me. I see it as a firing opportunity. Let the layoffs begin. America will win. Just you wait and see. The Democrats just gave me an opportunity. Now I have a chance, along with J.D. Vance, to make us more waste-free. A federal budget cutting opportunity. The budget I'll reduce when thousands are cut loose. Less bureaucracy. I will make this another opportunity. This is a big time opportunity. I love to end a war. How about you? I'm gonna end some more. You know it's true. India, Pakistan are at peace now. No war in Thailand, ceasefire in Iran. I'll take a bow. Rwanda and Congo ended their fight. And in Armenia, I made it right. Next up will be Ukraine, been a financial drain. Not anymore. Oh, how I love ending a war.
Street protesters, we've had our fill, but Randy Fine has a bill, says move them on over, run them all over, run over protesters blocking all our roads. The Thump Thump bill is what it's called. I'm sure the left will be appalled, but move them on over. Run them all over. Step on the gas if they won't step aside. Sure, it might leave a dent, but make them a hood ornament. Run them all over. Thump them all over. If they block our streets, they'll get what they deserve.
Here we go. We're going to talk to Brigadier General Blaine Holt in just one moment. I want to mention something. Buy gold and get free silver. Now, I don't know if you knew this, but gold was about $4,000 an ounce for the first time a couple days ago. It's on its way up. The trajectory is unbelievable. It's been this way for years, and it's going even further. I can go on and on about that, but right now, for every $5,000 purchased from Birch Gold Group this month in advance of Veterans Day, they will send you a free patriotic silver round that commemorates the Gadsden and American flags. Look, if you're streaming right now, here it is. I've got it right in front of me. It is beautimous. It is amazing. I'm going to carry this in my pocket. I'm going to flip it like one of those private investigators, in the old-timey movies. I'm going to keep it right there in my pocket wherever I go. It's going to be good luck, and it's also valuable. There it is. Look at that coin. Look at that beautiful coin. It is solid silver. And silver, by the way, is up massively. Tom K says silver hit $50 an ounce today. What? I don't even know what this weighs. But anyway, right now, gold is up 40% since the beginning of this year. Birch Gold can help you by converting an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold. You can do silver, too, if you want to. Plus, they'll send you a free silver honoring our veterans on qualifying purchases. If you are current or former military, Birch Gold has a special offer for you. They are waiving custodial fees for the first year on investments of any amount. With an A-plus rating from the BBB, tens of thousands of happy customers, many of which are my listeners, I encourage you to diversify your savings with gold. Text my name, Rob, to 989898 for a free info kit and claim your eligibility for free silver with qualifying purchase before the end of the month. There's the coin. Hi-ho, silver. Right there it is. You're going to get one of these. It's heavy, too. $50 an ounce. $50 an ounce. Oh, my goodness. Here's a guy who's worth his weight in gold. Okay, maybe not the best segue, but he is. Blaine Holt, how are you, sir?
You better hold on to that silver round. It's going to be worth a heck of a lot more.
Brother, I'm going to tell you, it's a really cool coin, too, by the way. It is a really cool, and I am going to carry it around like I'm a private dick. I'm serious. Normally, I'm just, I'm that without the private in front of it. But anyway, a big day, right? I mean, we're kind of having a big day and a big week. Yesterday, we heard that the Hamas has agreed to give up the hostages. Obviously, there are a lot of unanswered questions with regard to this possible peace deal in the Middle East with Israel and Hamas. What do you know?
Well, if phase one is agreed to, then let's just take it one at a time, Get these hostages. That's step one. And when we do phase one and we get it done, then Hamas really has no leverage left, so their number one thing is to do whatever the heck they're told at that point, because they understand that if they don't, they're going to be plowed, and they also understand that the diplomacy that Arab Kushner conducted with the Arab states basically has them all aligned, where they've cut off Hamas, no more weapons, no more money, no more life support, and also these fragmented other terror groups in Gaza have had it with Hamas as well. And so they're all turning on them. This is just wonderful. This is great news.
This is interesting because Donald Trump is using the levers of tariffs, trade deals, money. He's doing this with all of these peace deals, Pakistan and India. You know how he did that? He said, I'm going to tariff the crap out of your stuff so you won't be able to pay for your conflicts. I mean, this is America flexing. Right. Dude, this is America flex. This is Superman returning after a few years off. That's what's happening.
And he's using the military in an expert way. He's using the military as a big stick deterrent.
Yes.
It helps the process that we have Al Udeid down there in that massive airbase, all those jets that have gone in there. It sends the right message while he's working out a demilitarized option. So it's like, look, if you don't like my diplomacy, maybe this will attract your attention down there. But here's how you know that President Trump is doing well. Yeah. The BBC, which hates President Trump greatly, actually credited him with this peace deal and the ceasefire, and they're praising him on BBC. Now I know that the world is probably rotating in the other direction.
Listen to this. Listen to, I think I've got it. Yeah, this is, let me see it here. Maybe I don't have it. I thought I had Trump getting credit. I think this could be it. Hold on.
Make no mistake, it looks like President Trump has actually pulled off something here that many presidents before him have failed to do.
Yeah, that is on NBC, but obviously if it's BBC, sounds like a BBC reporter, whatever, but yeah, they're starting to get it. Also, there was an NBC report today talking about the border being closed down.
Right.
Wow.
Well, here's the difference. The presidents that came before President Trump led with the same old stupid, tired playbook left over from World War II, which was, we'll inundate you with our intelligence services, we'll promise you weapons deals if you play ball, and the like. That's our statecraft. And instead, President Trump is, no, I'm about the Abraham Accords. Countries that trade together and are tied together by commerce have a better chance of actually being peaceful neighbors, and that's the direction he's taking.
That is remarkable. That is absolutely remarkable when you think about it. And a lot of the times, people will say that Donald Trump is a very, he's obviously plain spoken. But there are a lot of things going on, man, in his mind, and all of this stuff. You look at, even when he went over to Saudi Arabia and he went to Qatar, and you're thinking, okay, well, I know why he's over there for a trade deal. Little did we know. That was part of it, dude. This is part of it.
I know.
Oh, my God.
I know. It's really good. So then you have to wonder, what kind of conversations is he having with Moscow and Beijing?
Yes.
Not just on those wars and Taiwan, but what about the financial aspects of these things and avoiding a monetary system collapse? I think he's working on all those fronts because, listen, they created little Easter egg time bombs all over this globe for him to defuse. And so far, he's doing it. It doesn't mean he's gonna get it all done. But if you think about where we'd be with Comrade Harris at this point in the game, we'd be having this phone call with me being in Uruguay. That's where I'd be.
Yeah, well, I mentioned earlier that if, Joe Biden, by the way, if they hadn't discovered his brain was made of pudding, he'd be the president, right now, and he'd be 9 months into it. And I was kind of fantasizing about what his schedule would have been yesterday. While Donald Trump was achieving peace in the Middle East, Joe Biden would have called a lid on his day at 9 a.m. and crapped his pants. I'm thinking that would be...
Yeah, but I agree with everything you just said, except for the big insult to pudding. I don't think you should be.
Yeah, you don't want to insult the pudding, especially the Hunt snack pack we used to have when we were kids in the lunch. That's an insult. I apologize for that. But we look at also Donald Trump's doing the same damn thing to Antifa. Here in the United States, he's doing the same thing to Antifa. He is going after the money. He's going after the money, and he's going to go after all these NGOs. He's going to go after all these billionaires, these evil billionaires living in volcanoes around the world like George Soros. He's doing the same thing. He's going after the money.
Yeah, and the corrupt politicians are taking the bait. They're running with their rhetoric. They're running right down the path to give the president the ability to invoke the Insurrection Act.
Yes.
You get more. Look at what Pritzker just said. If you want my people, you got to go through me. It's like, well, thank you for that. Appreciate that. That'll hold up in court.
And by the way, I understand that fat is a lot less dense than muscle, so it won't be a very difficult thing to go through. Sorry.
That's very true.
Had to get that in there.
He's going to learn a lot about. He'll learn about cortisol management in prison, I'm guessing.
Yes, he will. But it was really funny, and he did that. He said, Trump's going to go after me, and then he tried to do a flex. Did you see that? He tried to do some sort of flex of the camera.
That's awesome. It's pathetic.
It's really
a testament that we could do better just electing cabbages in these offices than where we're at.
And he could be doing a lot better if he ate more cabbage. Let's take a break. We got Brigadier General Blaine Holt on the show. By the way, on the other side of the break, I want to talk about the Iran, blowing up the nukes and what this had to do with, this Middle Eastern peace deal. It is a master class. All of that will continue in just a moment. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. Hey guys, it's Carson for Birch Gold. Let me be...
Well, let's start with the idea that this is a convicted felon. Think about that. Who's threatening to jail me. I got to say, this guy's unhinged. He's insecure. He's a wannabe dictator. And there's one thing I really want to say to Donald Trump. If you come for my people, you come through me. So come and get me.
Wow, there you go. That is J.B. Pritzker. Gosh, I always screw that up. J.B. Pritzker, the governor of Illinois, he wants to be the president. He's never going to be the president. Honestly, there's nothing likable about him. He's never accomplished anything. He was kicked out of his family business because he's such a failure, and he just happens to be the governor of Illinois because he paid his way into it. And that's basically it. He's never going to be the president. He has a better chance of being a parade balloon at Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade which it wouldn't be much of a stretch. Anyway, so that's J.B. Pritzker talking tough. He's going to be taken down. How many? We're talking to Blaine Holt, by the way. Blaine Holt, Brigadier General, retired, also the host of a Dangerous Intellectuals podcast, which you should check out. General, the National Guard moved into Chicago yesterday. What are your thoughts on that, and also the possibility of claiming some sort of an insurrection by Pritzker and by Brandon Johnson?
Well, since they're using lawfare on their side to blunt the president or to stop him, he's absolutely, you can bet, got his lawyers engaged on the proper legal thresholds that would be crossed for the Insurrection Act.
Yes.
And this is about so much more than just knocking out some petty crime. These cities now have become ungovernable. Yeah. And when Pritzker goads the president and challenges him, I don't know who's stupid enough to do that. But, the president doesn't drink, so he wouldn't say, hold my beer, but he would say, oh, hold my Diet Coke.
But, also, Pritzker is using, it's not a war of words. He's using words of war. J.B. Pritzker and Brandon Johnson are
violent rhetoric.
General, if your opponent was using that kind of language, what would that tell you, sir?
It tells me about intent, and it tells me that he's communicating with those in communion with him who are waiting for the word.
Yes, that's exactly right. I would love to see the Insurrection Act used.
I would too.
Because honestly, enough is enough. But bullcrap, dude. Enough is enough is enough. And what's really amazing? You had anchors on television saying that, Antifa, they haven't done anything compared to the Lost Boys and the whatever.
Oh, yeah.
It's a joke. They've run roughshod over the country, caused billions of dollars worth of damage. They wear uniforms. They have a logo, and it's a worldwide movement. My God, are you out of your frigging mind?
Yeah, it's like, who is that moron Belshi got in front of a big building that exploded. Yeah, and said mostly peaceful, just mostly peaceful. Listen, it's the same thing that CNN is putting out right now. What did she say? She said that they are certainly more peaceful than the extreme right-wing groups.
Yes.
And it's like, how many times are they going to go to the well on this? Throw red ants in a jar, throw black ants in a jar, put the lid on it, shake them up, and see if we can't get everybody killing everybody.
It is.
Because that's what they do.
It is ridiculous. And at this point, they honestly are easily dismissible. I have no time. I really have no time to debate ABC, CBS, NBC, MSNBC, CNN. They are ridiculously out of touch. They speak in nonsense. They've been wrong about everything. The only reason I talk about them is to deride them and make fun of them because they're laughable. And the great thing is, though, General, is that we're winning on all fronts.
We are winning on all fronts, and isn't it? Look, I will pull for the corporate body. Isn't it cool to be a teammate at Newsmax at this point in time in history?
I want to play a soundbite from Donald Trump talking to Hannity last night about the Iran nuke deal.
Well, Iran was about 1 month, maybe 2 months away from having a nuclear weapon. And if I allowed that to happen, this deal would not have been possible. Yeah. Or if it was, it would have a tremendous cloud over it because you'd have a country with a nuclear weapon that was not obviously very friendly. And the power of nuclear weapons is something that we shouldn't even be talking about. It's so massive. And so by doing that, we now have something where actually Iran and a number of people have been talking about a deal, but it's a very much different Iran. And frankly, we've had some very good conversations. And as you saw, they blessed the deal. They put out a few hours ago a statement that they agree.
This is 3D chess, man, isn't it? Think about all the things that have happened. Dude, he's only been in office 9 months, and look what he's done. He's been setting up the pieces to get here.
Look, I love our dear friends in Israel, but the politics there are vicious, as you well know, and President Trump's maneuvers has absolutely boxed in the political risks in Israel right now. And the reason that's so important is we're looking to de-escalate. We're looking to get to peace.
Yes.
We have a rising threat in Syria with HTS. The president knows this. Yeah. And that's going to be the next challenge. But can you see Iran and Lebanon coming into the Abraham Accords? I can see that now. I can absolutely see that path.
Yes.
And if Iraq goes in there, now you've got an isolated Syria. And here's why it's isolated, because he even asked for Turkey's Erdogan's help in crafting this deal. Yes. And Erdogan worked with Hamas. Everybody is marching to President Trump's leadership on this issue right now.
Now, I believe you sent me this earlier. Israeli tanks near Netzarim, south of Gaza City, fire shots at Palestinians trying to move north along the coast. And Bibi is literally blowing up the deal. Is this happening, or what's going on there? What is Netanyahu's role in this? Because I haven't heard anything from him.
I don't know yet, and we're going to have to watch that carefully. But, all ceasefires, when you get them started, are messy. So if you're trying to complete military objectives, maybe you didn't get the word. But the thing that has to happen now is the State Department is going to be all over the monitoring of this and get this baby across the line. Because what do we want to see? This isn't about a President Trump victory. What this is about is those hostages getting back into the arms of their families and the remains going back to their families.
Yes. And then we'll take the next steps. And if Antifa, or not Antifa, Hamas, might as well be the same thing. One step over the line, you're done. You're done. Blaine Holt, I appreciate you so much for being on the show today. Where can people listen to your Dangerous Intellectuals podcast?
Hey, come visit us at Danger Thinking on X, and then you could go to dangerousintellectuals.com for all of the platforms that you could go to get it. And today I just released an op-ed on China on Newsmax.com on the Insiders page, The Irascible Disruptor.
All right, brother. Have a glorious weekend. God bless you. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. All righty. So I'm going to kill that and say hi to you guys watching on the social media. We got a lot of new names watching on YouTube, including Dave Kim and L for Real. Good to see you there. And Brian Wonderly, we've seen you. Mary Lynn as well. Mary Lynn, thanks for watching. Hope you're enjoying the show. The Rumbly Roop, the usual suspects there. Duke E. Bear, Tom K1TL, and Curtis 747, Robert Myers. Hope you're enjoying the show. Lynn Scat as well. Kill over on the Facebook. And I'm told that you guys on Rumble said, hey, man, you got to give Rob thumbs up. Give Rob lots of thumbs up for more visibility. So let's do it right now. 1, 2, 3. Thumbs up. Do it. I'm not just sitting there talking about on Facebook. I want to see that. See, come on. Get on it. There they go. I see what you're doing there. All right, keep them going. We're trying to get the visibility going. We're trying to make sure that people see the show and hear the show, and it continues to grow by leaps and bounds. I had a marvelous conversation this morning with a young man. I'm getting ready to sign up for this health insurance, Christian-based health insurance, and I had a really good conversation with him. And he said, I've been looking around since Charlie died. I don't know what to listen to, and I listened to Ben Shapiro, and I said, well, Ben Shapiro was like the love child of Mr. Spock and Sheldon from Big Bang Theory. And he said, okay, well, let me check it out. And he Googled my name. He hadn't heard of me. And he said, I want to check this out. I said, well, you know what? We are in the middle of a rebirth of faith and freedom around the world. And it is absolutely tied into God. And he was like, okay, I'm going to check it out. So hold on one second. So, there very positive things are happening. Really super positive things are happening. Hold on one second. Here we go. I got to talk now.
Well, Gaza is going to be a peaceful, much safer place. Obviously, it's been blown to pieces, and this is just not by Israel. This is over years and years and years. It's been heartache for many years. A lot of people say this is a deal for 3,000 years. So whether you say 500, because some people say 500 based on events, but other people say this is something historic for 3,000 years. There's nothing ever going to be bigger than this. And so Gaza, we believe, is going to be a much safer place, and it's going to be a place that reconstructs, and other countries in the area will help it reconstruct.
Yeah, and once we get the hostages back, Hamas knows that we will have no restrictions on wiping them from the face of the freaking earth should they bleep with us. How's that sound? Yeah. So my deal is I would like Hamas to be wiped from the face of the earth. I'd like to see Benjamin Netanyahu and Israel get medieval on them, wipe them all out, kill them all. Hell yeah. So there's a lot of things to achieve. First and foremost, ceasefire, Israeli hostages released. It's I was thinking this morning about the parents of some of the hostages who are just thrilled to get their children's remains. I mean, how low do you have to be in your life where you are eagerly awaiting your children's remains? That's all they can expect. That's the most that they can expect. I was talking to Brigitte Gabriel in texting. She's very, concerned about Hamas and their ability to regroup and whatever. One step at a time. I'm not claiming there's going to be peace in the Middle East and all of that and, declaring kumbaya and all that. But it is a step at a time. And when you look at it from a distance and you see all of the things that Donald Trump has already done these 9 months of his presidency versus what could have been a drunk woman who drinks box Chardonnay and has the verbal acumen of a 3-year-old, I'd say we're in a pretty good place. And the most positive thing is we're winning on all fronts, and the left is being beaten back. And they're trying to drag us into hell with them, but we're not going. So there you go. How's that sound? I think it sounds pretty good. First hour of the show is in the can. I'll leave that one alone. Second hour is right ahead. I promise it can only get better. Actually, it's okay. Stick around.
No blind rhetoric.
No talking down to me.
Don't tell me how to think.
Don't tell me how to think.
Don't tell me how to think.
I trust Newsmax. Newsmax.
They don't tell me how to think. They let me decide. Real news for real people.
are about to hear the most interesting, informative, thought-provoking, and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
This is the Rob Carson Show, hour number 2 on a Thursday, the 9th of October already. Can you believe it already? The 9th of October. A lot of stuff in the air today. We're going to get into going after Antifa in American cities, also cleaning up Chicago, the Democrat Party, and Democrats like J.B. Titzler, Pritzker, and of course Brandon Johnson, who has a 6% approval rating, which is right above toenail fungus. They're going to get rolled over. Not physically, but they're going to get rolled over by the National Guard presence, and then of course by just the people in Chicago who are tired of the bull crap, and the people in Portland who are tired of the bull crap from the left. So that is going on. Of course, we got the beginnings of a Middle Eastern peace deal. You may recall, if you listen to this radio program, I've been saying that it's going to happen. I said, we're going to have this worldwide movement toward freedom and God, and not the radical Islam form of God, and that peace would come to the Middle East. Anyone who's corresponded with me, I've said, if peace is going to happen in the Middle East, it's going to happen now. And also, I think freedom's coming to Venezuela. I think eventually freedom's going to come to Cuba. I think radical Islam is going to be driven from the shores of England. It may take a little longer there, but good is coming. Good is circling the globe. Here's Donald Trump talking about the Middle East peace deal. And again, right now it's about getting the hostages released.
I think you're going to see all of that disappear. I think you're going to see people getting along, and you'll see Gaza being rebuilt. We're forming a council that...
I think that what Israelis ought to do is they ought to hire the quote-unquote Palestinians to build a new Luxor hotel, which is a pyramid-shaped hotel. So have the Palestinians build a pyramid like they did with the Jews, except for we're going to pay them this time. They won't be enslaved, but just right there on the shore. I think it'd be great to have a Luxor. I'd be going there.
The Council of Peace, we think it's going to be called, and it's going to be... They're very powerful, and it's going to really, I think to a large extent, it's going to have a lot to do with the whole Gaza situation. People are going to be taken care of. It's going to be a different world. I think really the Middle East came together. Amazingly, they came together. They have some countries with extraordinary wealth, and just spending a small portion of that wealth can do so much for that.
Yeah, and what Donald Trump is doing is he's using tariff. He's using trade, and he's saying that if you want to continue warring, then you're going to have to pay for it on your own, because we're going to end trade and we're going to tariff you into oblivion. There's a multi-level game going on worldwide, all of the peace deals in this fashion. And Donald Trump went to Saudi Arabia and Qatar just a couple of months ago, was given a king's welcome like we've never seen before. And that was part of the deal. Bombing Iran's nuclear facilities. Part of the deal. Part of the deal. It's layered. It's layered is what it is. Dan in Baltimore wants to talk about it. Dan, welcome to the Rob Carson Show. What's up?
Hey, man. I missed you the other couple weeks ago. You were supposed to be here in town for something, and we were going to go, and then heard you weren't going to be there. But
I'm not sure about that. Go ahead.
I think the Israeli people are going to live to regret making any deal, because unless and until Hamas is totally destroyed, they're going to come back.
Yeah.
My understanding is the guy that planned and helped carry out the October incident a couple years ago was one of the people that was released a bunch of years earlier by the Israelis in exchange for something.
Okay.
But why they keep making these deals knowing full well that the Arabs aren't going to uphold the deal?
What Arabs are we talking about here?
Well, because there's no such thing as a Palestinian.
Yeah.
They're all Arab.
Yeah.
And Israel made peace with the surrounding Arab neighbors thanks to the Abraham Accords.
Yes.
But Hamas and Hezbollah are nothing but terrorists.
I understand that, but let me ask you this. Hold on a second. Listen, I'm just learning about all this. I'm not an expert in Middle Eastern, policy and all of this. But he's going to secure the release of the hostages. That is their trump card, for lack of a better expression. So if Hamas gives up the hostages, that would give Israel and the United States permission to bomb them into oblivion should they try anything.
You mean if they don't?
If they try anything, if they try to pick a fight, if they try to, do an incursion, if they try to do some sort of attack, once you have the hostages out of the situation, you've given up their only bargaining chip, and consequently, you've given us permission to eliminate them from the planet. Do you understand from that perspective?
Yeah, but that won't keep them from coming back in and taking more hostages, and then the cycle.
Well, you prevent them from doing that, and if they try it again, you bomb the bloody snot out of them.
And because
you're speaking in these different scenarios that haven't happened. The most important scenario is that we got the hostages back. We're going to get the hostages back on Monday. That changes the game. You know what I'm saying? And listen, I understand your reticence because this is radical Islam. But once you give up those hostages, then you give up a lot. It doesn't matter. You can't just say, oh, well, they might get more hostages. And then, no. You have to realize that getting those hostages ends their ability to negotiate and unleashes hell on them should they try anything else. I got to run, but thanks for the phone call, dude. I appreciate it. I understand your reticence. I have the same thing. I'd rather we just bomb the snot out of them. I've said, evacuate the innocent, raise Gaza, R-A-Z-E Gaza. And every time I put that up on Twitter, they flag me. But, Donald Trump's doing a great job. And like I said, once you get rid of that bargaining chip of the hostages, then they're sitting there naked. I would like every one of the bastards who they had in jail to be lined up against a wall. Hell yeah. And we will see what happens after the hostages are returned. That's supposed to happen on Monday. But right now, the most important thing, and then beyond all of the other ruminations about what could happen and what if they do this and what if they do that, let's just worry about getting the hostages and we'll take it from there. We do have every Arab state stepping forward and saying, we want to get this deal done peacefully. There you go. Those are the two big deals. All the Arab states are involved, saying thumbs up, we're going to be peaceful, and the hostages coming back on Monday, then we'll take it from there. Because if Hamas F's with them one more time, they're going to get blown the snot out of. They will send Israeli special forces in, and they will find all of them, and they will take them out. That's what will happen should they decide to try anything like this again. So we'll see. Like I said, I can't. I'm not an expert on this stuff. I just have common sense and life experience and all that. That's kind of what I have. That's what I'm good at. So WebRoot's pretty amazing. I signed up for WebRoot Total Protection. It's not very expensive. It's friggin' cheap. And I had my computer attacked the other day. I downloaded some software that I thought was safe. It was from I'm doing a video switcher here in the studio, and all of a sudden my computer just went bananas. No blue screen of death, just nothing responding. I thought, it's over. My computer's dead. Right now, you can sign up for WebRoot Total Protection at webroot.com/Carson. October is Cybersecurity Awareness Month, a.k.a. Cyber Scaries Month. And being vulnerable to cyber criminals happens. Real-time antivirus protection is what you get against emerging threats like malware, ransomware, phishing. I'm so bloody sick and damn tired of the phishing and all the nonsense on my Gmail and on my damn phone. So you're late on a bill. You better give us your card. And, you're late. They threaten you when you're thinking all the accounts that you have, what can I be late on? And they just want you to give your banking information and then screw you. And they're very tricky about it. They change it every day. WebRoot's going to help you. Firewall and network monitor. Web threats shield detects and blocks malicious websites before you visit them, because you never know. Works with Chrome, Edge, Firefox, all of that. Password manager to protect logins. I am so damn sick and tired of coming up with new passwords. System optimizer to delete traces of online activity. Sign up, you're going to save 60%. Write this down now. It's super cheap. Webroot.com/Carson. Webroot.com/Carson. 60% off for a limited time, but only when you go to Webroot.com/Carson. Let's take a break and come back. Going to be talking about Antifa, the really awesome meeting yesterday with Pam Bondi and others in the Oval Office. That's coming up on the Rob Carson Show. Don't go anywhere.
He wants a new map. He's full of crap. California says screw you, Gavin. His plan is to steal. It's a dirty deal. If you do, you'll be through. It's true, Gavin. He wants to flip the house 'cause he's a louse with greasy hair. Gavin Newsom's hated almost everywhere. He's no match for Trump, 'cause he is a chump. Somebody should sue you, Gavin. He has no class like Karen Bass, they should step down. Approval sinks, California thinks he is a clown. Newsom's a joke, the state's going broke. They're finished with you, it's true, Gavin. Well, he's a turncoat, he's a traitor, a sour grapes Trump hater. He had the goods on Joe Biden. The evidence stayed in hiding. He's the left-wing media's overweight star. Ooh, I hate Bill Barr. Can't stand Bill Barr. I am not sold. The truth about Jeffrey Epstein and Bill Barr has not been told. It was bizarre. Did it go too far? Oh, I hate Bill Barr.
Nice piece of art.
Poor little Democrats. Are you guys okay today? I came in to check on you. Every time Trump does something good, you guys spaz out. But you guys shut up and let him work.
It is Rob Carson Show. Byron Donalds joins us at the bottom of the hour. The Byron Donalds. I remember having him on a few years ago. Hell, it's only been like 4 years ago. I had him on for the first time. as a freshman congressman. He's going to be running for governor of Florida. He was my choice, by the way, for Donald Trump's running mate. But we'll talk to him at the bottom of the hour, see what's up with him as well. Right here in Washington, D.C., where I live now, D.C. police arrested a man with hundreds of explosive devices alongside a church holding a mass in honor of the Supreme Court. The man had a manifesto that suggested he was targeting the Supreme Court and Catholics. Luis Guerra, 41-year-old from Arizona and New Jersey, was apprehended outside the Cathedral of St. Matthew's the Apostle on the 5th. They were getting ready to have their Red Mass. Who attends the Red Mass there? Well, a lot of big names like John Roberts, Brett Kavanaugh, and Amy Coney Barrett. You didn't know that, did you? Yeah. Jerry was occupying a green tent on the steps of the church when police attempted to clear the area. He told police, "You might want to stay back and call the federales. I have explosives." I'm aware that the Red Mass police wrote and threatened to throw a bomb into the street as a demonstration, saying, "I have hundreds of them." He had a manifesto revealed his significant animosity toward the Catholic Church, members of the Jewish faith, members of SCOTUS, and ICE facilities. The same damned modus operandi as Charlie Kirk's shooter, as the one who shot up the ICE facility. This is a civil war fomented by the Democrat Party. How do we know this? Because they're using the same modus operandi and the same friggin' language. Alleged Palisades fire arsonist Jonathan Reinderkite donated to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Isn't that amazing? Jonathan Reinderknecht shelled out a couple dollars to the hybrid Act Blue on two separate occasions, just days apart in 2020. Didn't have a lot of money because, he's a Democrat leftist. By the way, it killed 12 people. The fire killed 12 people, obliterated 7,000 homes and buildings, $150 billion in damage. He's facing the death penalty. Oh, I hope he gets it. I'd like to see burning at the stake, to be quite honest. Like to see burning at the stake, to be honest. He literally on Chat GPT said that he had burnt a Bible and he felt good and liberated afterwards, among other things. He was anti-ICE as well. So it's the same damn thing. Here's Judge Jeanine. Judge Jeanine was talking about this last night on the TV about what is coming to the left. And by the way, all of these are connected. Same goes with the arson attacks on Tesla dealerships. The same language being used by the left, the same bad actors. Antifa, of course, has burned its way across the country since before 2020. Give me a friggin' break. Everybody knows about it. It's real. It's real. It's real. And it's about to get real for them. Here is Judge Jeanine.
It could have been very big, and we'll know for sure.
Talking about the bombing that could have happened on the Catholic Church. And by the way, doesn't this sound a whole lot like, Nazi Germany going after the Jews and the Catholics? Using words like fascist, all of that. Yeah, it's the exact same playbook.
Tomorrow, when we get the information we need from the FBI, Huntsville, Alabama, where their bomb testing is done, and we'll move it into federal court. But these are repeated acts that we're seeing over and over again. And there is this belief, and, even with the sentencing of the man who attempted to assassinate the Supreme Court Justice Kavanaugh, there's this thought that, you're not really going to get punished. You're going to get away with it. It'll be swept under the rug, the way these attacks on Christians and Catholics were during the last administration. Not under President Trump, certainly not in the nation's capital.
Yeah. I do believe that Joe Biden sicked the DOJ on Catholics and Christian conservatives. It's a plan. The Democrat Party, the deep state left, can't be allowed to continue to exist. They have to be driven out of existence. They're doing a good job on their own. But it's very clear this is related to the Democrat Party and the left in the deep state. All of these attacks, they have the same fingerprint. Duh. Dear God. Now, what's really scary is that this attack on this church could have been Oklahoma City.
And this is a classic example of what we have seen in the last few weeks. The Annunciation School, that church in Minnesota where 19 children were shot. And then we had
Joe Biden and the Democrats have had it in for the Catholic Church since they lost on Roe v. Wade. The conservative Christians and the Catholic Church have had a target on their backs. They have committed hundreds of acts against churches and pro-life centers around the country. This is Nazi Germany. This is Stalin's Russia.
Church of the Latter-day Saints this past weekend, another Christian church where there were people who were shot. The church went into was into a blaze. And then we've got this where we've got a Catholic church. He was there ready to go. And we, not to mention in the shadow of Charlie Kirk, who was someone who believed in not only free speech, but religious freedom. Yeah. So what we've got now is a president who's not going to take it. We're taking these crimes very seriously, and we are going to, in a preliminary hearing tomorrow, assuming that we get the judgment and the evidence that we need, we will move this to federal court based upon what we believe is nitromethane, which is the substance that was used by the Oklahoma City.
Yeah, it's getting real. And the left is going to get its ass kicked up between its shoulders. 1,000%. I don't like to use that kind of language, but sometimes you got to do. Here is Erin Burnett on CNN saying that after this meeting yesterday on Capitol Hill with Pam Bondi and others, and journalists who've been attacked, victimized by Antifa, basically saying Antifa doesn't exist.
And Trump's Secretary of Homeland Security actually took that further.
This network of Antifa is just as sophisticated as MS-13, as TDA, as ISIS, as Hezbollah, as Hamas, as all of them. They are just as dangerous.
That's pretty incredible, right? Hamas has just been engaged in a 2-year war that we just announced the first stage of a peace plan to a few moments ago. And ISIS? These are incredible things to say. And obviously, I'm not going to sit here and defend anybody who considers themselves part of an Antifa movement, such that it is. Yeah. But such that it is the operative part of that sentence. What? Antifa is far from a major sophisticated terror organization.
Yes, it is. It's worldwide, you dumb bleep. It's freaking worldwide. It was behind the summer of 2020, you ignoramus.
Like Hezbollah, Hamas, or ISIS. In fact, it's not even like far-right groups like the Proud Boys and Oath Keepers.
Oh, no. Are you kidding me?
Which have had national leaders, unlike Antifa.
Oh, my God in heaven. Let's get an idea of the tentacles of Antifa.
This is not just a story about violence and chaos, as you alluded to, Mr. President. This is a money story. And at the Government Accountability Institute, my colleague and I, Peter Schweitzer and our team, we followed the money, and we followed it to the top of what we call the protest industrial complex, Riot Inc., and we found a network of NGOs. It's not just the Soros network, the Open Society network, it's other funding networks, the Arabella funding network, the Tides funding network, Neville Roy Singham and his network, Foreign Cash. And it's also big left-wing funders. Some of them are not citizens of this country. Mr. Hans-Jörg Wyss of Switzerland. They're pouring money.
I don't believe that the Proud Boys have $100 million in U.S. taxpayer money flowing into these funding networks: Open Society, Arabella, Tides Foundation, Neville Roy Singham, Johann Hans-Jörg, a billionaire from Switzerland. All of this. Proud Boys does not have $100 million and billions in rolling from around the world. My God, Erin Burnett, just quit your damn job and do something else for a living. Byron Donalds joins us next. I promise you it's going to be amazing. You know how I know that? Because Byron Donalds is next. Don't go anywhere.
12 exclusively on WCBN.
There was a deal that was sort of jointly negotiated by the outgoing Biden administration, the incoming Trump administration, that was also multiple phases. The first phase was the release of some hostages, a cessation of bombing. That never got to phase 2 the first time around. Instead, the war continued after that. So your point is well taken. Do you think there's a role do you worry that Trump wants to get the Nobel Prize on Friday?
There you go. That is Chris Hayes trying to, I guess, I don't even know what to say. He's saying that Joe Biden, who did nothing but put a lid on his day at 9 a.m. and occasionally probably mess his pants, got the ball rolling, and the only reason Donald Trump is doing this is to win the Nobel Prize. I mean, honestly, wow. Is there any reason why that CNN and MSNBC are dead? Joining us on the Newsmax Hotline is a superstar in the Republican Party. I remember when I interviewed him a few years ago as a freshman congressman, and he has since just had a meteoric rise, and it's continuing. Byron Donalds joins us on the Newsmax Hotline. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. Man, talk about, earth-shattering. I think the president, his work in the Middle East, him and his team, obviously Marco Rubio, Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner has been a part of this deal. They've been really focused on peace, so it's a great time to be alive. We still have to deal with Democrats on Capitol Hill, but,
This is remarkable, Byron, and I'm seeing all the pieces come into place. And listen, there's still a lot of balls in the air. We're still worried about what Hamas is going to do. Number one is ceasefire and getting hostages home. But now we're starting to see pieces like why Donald Trump blew up Iran's nuclear facilities, how it's come into play here, why Donald Trump was welcomed in Saudi and Qatar and negotiated trade deals, and why he's been using the tariffs. It's 3D chess, and it's resulted in this. You don't realize how complicated. A lot of people don't realize how complicated this has been, but this is the culmination of a lot of stuff.
It is, and I think especially if you're going to be able to move agreements like this, where they've frankly been almost impossible to get to, to get to this point. A lot of that has been because we've had leadership in the United States over the past several decades that, to be blunt, were just weak. They were weak. They were actually not very bright, not very smart. They were too busy listening to the D.C. lingo on foreign policy, as opposed to knowing how to position and leverage yourself to being in a prime position to get these kind of deals done. I mean, the Iranian nuclear facility. The reason why that strike was so critical is because it put the Middle East on notice.
Yes,
that's what it did more than anything. It put them on notice for number one to say, look, we're not going to continue to tolerate a lot of the talking points that come from these radical regimes, when on the backside they're just going to continue nuclear ambitions or terrorist ambitions. And number two, it actually helped a lot of the other Arab states because they didn't want a nuclear Iran either. And so it actually demonstrated credibility for the president to be able to get these other countries on board, to be able to get to a point where we are right now, where these hostages looks like they'll be coming home finally.
Now, this is an interesting, and I was thinking about this last night. I was talking to, I know Brigitte Gabriel's very concerned about Hamas and all this. And I said, if you get the ceasefire and you get the hostages, you are taking a major tool from Hamas. Because if we get the hostages and they try anything like a military move or an attempt to take hostages, it's over for them.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Your personal opinion, Byron Donalds, what's next here, and what happens to Gaza, and what happens to the members of Hamas? Because they've lived their entire lives to kill the Jews. What's next, man?
Well, I agree with you. I think the ball, if this deal holds, there's a ceasefire and the hostages come home. The ball is now in the court of whatever remains of the Hamas leadership. They can choose to live in peace with Israel. They can choose to weaponize and begin to actually have a stable economy, stable services, whether it's healthcare, education for their people. Or they can continue down the same line. And I'm going to tell you right now, they continue down the same line. There's not going to be Hamas leadership for much longer because it won't be tolerated.
Yes.
That's the position that they're in. Yes. That's where Donald Trump has now positioned the Middle East. And that's a good thing. I think the era of the quote-unquote experts on foreign policy who would say that you got to have a two-state solution. That's a joke. It's been a joke for 15 years. There's about time that I'm glad nobody's really talking about that anymore.
They've had a two-state solution, but they blew it, Byron. They had a two-state solution to 2005, and they elected Hamas, for God's sake. I'm glad that this has come to this. We realize that a two-state solution has not worked.
Yep. It has not worked. It only worked in Model UN. It didn't work in the real world. And so, now that we're past that, let's see where we go. But this is going to be in the hands of what's left of Hamas leadership. Yeah. They can choose to enter into normal relations with Israel and, quite frankly, with the other countries in that region, or they can continue down the road that they're going. But like I said, they won't be around much longer if they choose to do that.
Some of the same dynamics happening in America's cities with Antifa, with the anti-Islam or the pro-Hamas, anti-Israeli. All of these groups have operated on the same kind of modus operandi. Donald Trump is doing something very similar, like he did in the Middle East, using trade and tariffs. He is going after their financing. Yesterday there was a big summit at the White House about Antifa. What's next for Antifa in places like Portland, and what's up with Donald Trump moving in to end crime in cities like Chicago and Memphis? What do you suppose?
Well, I think they both are focused on the same end goal. We know that the Democrats are using Antifa and these other front groups as AstroTurf to push their radical agenda that they don't have popular support for. That's what they've been doing for a long time. So looking at how they finance themselves, exposing that to the American people, finding ways to cut that off, that is the appropriate tactical response right now. Glad the White House is leading on that effort. And I think you dovetail that with him using National Guard troops to essentially be in these cities to help them be safe. Look, Chicago's down 2,000 police officers. They're down 2,000 officers. They will tell you in Chicago that 50% of their murders happen on 17 street corners. 17. So if you have National Guard troops in Chicago who are just there as a deterrent, the same way they're there in Washington, D.C., they're just there as a deterrent to walk the streets, to help people feel safe. It actually gives the Chicago Police Department or the Memphis Police Department or any other police department the ability to focus their resources on the areas of the city where most of the crime happens. You get that under control with local law enforcement, and then you got to have DAs who are going to do the right thing and prosecute crime and hold people accountable. That's how your cities are safe. So what Donald Trump is doing, he's making Democrats look real stupid. He's saying, "Look, I got these National Guardsmen. They're members of every community in America. We will deploy them to help you get your city under control." The Democrats are saying, "Oh, you can't do that. We don't need that help." And the citizens are like, "Are you crazy?"
Yes.
Like, yes, please. Like, yeah, we need help, because the way the Democrats have run these cities into the ground, it has not worked. So Donald Trump is providing solutions and leadership. And
I love it. Byron Donalds, can you hold on to the next break? I'd like to talk to you about how D.C. has changed since Donald Trump took office. I just moved here, by the way, 3 months ago. Also, the shutdown, what do you see there? And then also your plans in the state of Florida. Can you stick around for that, my friend?
Sure.
I appreciate that very much. More with Congressman Byron Donalds on the Rob Carson Show in a minute. Stick around.
We're not going to stop at just arresting the violent criminals we can see in the streets. Fighting crime is more than just getting the bad guy off the streets. It's breaking down the organization brick by brick. Just like we did with cartels, we're going to take the same approach, President Trump, with Antifa.
I love it. I absolutely love it that it's Pam Bondi. And they are taking an amazing step toward ending the nonsense that has ruled in America's cities, particularly Democrat strongholds, for years. And by the way, with regard to inner cities, America's inner cities, for the last 60 years, my entire broadcasting career has been spent talking about America's inner cities. Byron Donalds, the Byron Donalds, House representative, member from Florida on the Newsmax Hotline. Byron Donalds, America's inner cities, and I like to use the analogy that people like Brandon Scott and J.B. Pritzker are once again standing in the schoolhouse doors as a Republican attempts to break down the walls that keep people in America's inner cities in poor schools, needy, and filled with grievance. Isn't that exactly the same modus operandi that the Democrat Party has had for decades?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct, and that's why they've run America's largest cities into the ground. Yep. They've been in control of these cities for 60 years. I think there's a list out there of every crime-ridden major city. The mayor, the city council are typically all Democrats. They're not electing Republicans. Yep. And it starts with the basic stuff. Number one is public safety. People aren't going to be able to open businesses. They're not going to be able to, students aren't going to be able to walk to school thinking just about school if the cities aren't safe. That's number one. Number two, when the kid gets to school, they actually have to get an education that's worth something. It has to be challenging. It has to be rigorous. Sir. It has to demand excellence from them. And if kids aren't getting that and they're behind when it comes to grade level, mathematical skills, reading skills, all you're doing is actually opening them up to the desperation of having to do whatever it takes to put food on the table, and sometimes that leads to crime, or it leads to desperation, or it leads to public assistance. Either way, it's not good. No. So those are the building blocks of good societies. Democrats don't believe in those principles, which is why our major cities continue to fall behind.
I got to tell you, I moved to Washington, D.C. about 3.5 months ago, Byron Donalds, and I live in Old Town Alexandria, and I cannot believe I went to Union Station, and you can eat off the floor there. It is remarkable. Now, I didn't live here the last 4 years. You have. How much has it changed since Donald Trump brought the National Guard in and did what he's doing in Washington, D.C.?
Like night and day.
I know.
Seriously, like night and day. There was about a 2-week period where there was not a murder in Washington, D.C. That hadn't happened in D.C. in 40-plus years. It's literally night and day. And actually what you're seeing is the Metro Police Department, now they have the resources to focus on the more crime-ridden areas. Mayor Bowser, D.C. mayor, she was in Oversight Committee about 2 weeks ago. She testified under oath that crime in D.C. was down 40%.
Wow.
40.
Wow.
I mean, these are real solutions. It's helping. Except if you listen to Democrats.
Yes.
But again, they're stupid. They have no solutions, real solutions.
Yeah, now what about this shutdown? I have said from the very beginning, and I have been proven right, 65% of Americans know it's the Democrats' problem. When is this going to end? When is this going to end? I have no doubt the Democrats are going to come out on the losing end. They're not going to get anything out of this. It's just a matter of when. What do you think?
I think this will probably end sometime over the next 2 weeks. Major issues coming up, which is payment for our service members. Military pay is going to come up soon. And I think you're going to see a couple Senate Democrats begin to fold. And that's just the way this thing is going to end. It's all been about Chuck Schumer trying to save his leadership from the radical left in his party. It's about the radical left wanting to spend now upwards of $1.8 trillion more on reckless things that the American people have long since rejected, the largest of which is health care for illegal aliens. The American people have rejected it. That's what Democrats want. And so they're trying to hold the government hostage and hold the American people hostage. But we're not going to budge and we're not going to yield.
Nobody believes it, man. Nobody believes it. They don't hold any sway anymore. That's just the way it is. It's obvious. Okay, so you're going to be running for governor of Florida. As much as I would really hate to have you leave D.C., tell me about your plans, sir.
Well, look, the job is simple. Number one, keep Florida as the number one state in the country. Ron DeSantis, our current governor, has done a tremendous job. It starts with public safety. It starts with great education for our kids. And then it's going to be about building our economy in Florida to be even stronger. We want to be the financial hub of the world. We want to be a major tech hub in the United States. We want to continue to bring great companies, high-paying jobs for the people of Florida, while also making sure that we're making Florida a little bit more affordable, a little bit more attainable for the people who call it home. So it's a big job ahead of us, but we have a great, we're in a great position. The governor has left Florida in great shape. He's in his last year of his term, and I'm really fortunate to be endorsed by President Trump to be the state's next governor, and we're going to take our state to a whole nother level.
Well, I hate to see you leave D.C. I don't blame you for wanting to. But I wish you the best, man. And I want to tell you also, and I've spoken to your wife many times on this radio program, and you were my choice for Trump's VP, but I just want to tell you that. I know that doesn't matter now, but I've just been a huge admirer of what you've done, your steady leadership, and your brilliance. And I'm just thrilled and honored to have you on the show today, Byron Donalds.
Listen, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. And by the way, JD is doing great. He's doing a great job. Really happy for him. And look, the president, he's doing exactly what he said he was going to do, and that's make America great again.
Hey, Byron Donalds, what can people do to help you out in your run for governor of the state of Florida? Is there anything we could do right now for you?
Just go to ByronDonalds.com. Please contribute if you can. $5, $10, $20. Every little bit helps. Go to ByronDonalds.com. And if you live in Florida, would love to have your vote and your support. If you know people who live in Florida, just say, hey, look, man, Byron Donalds needs to be your next governor. That guy's great. We're going to take Florida to a new level.
I got to tell you, and I have no doubt about that at all. Best of luck with the shutdown, my friend. Thanks for the time today. I appreciate you.
All right. Thank you.
All right. There you go. Byron Donalds. ByronDonalds.com. ByronDonalds.com. I remember when I first had him on, he was a freshman in Congress. I didn't know Byron Donalds. And he was very, you could tell he's a very serious individual. He's a very serious individual. But I had no idea the greatness that is within this man. I mean, he is a freaking rock star. He is a rock star. So ByronDonalds.com. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. Byron Donalds is the deal, man. Byron Donalds is the deal, isn't he? Was that fun? Round Pony says, I read the ticker tape thinking on the bottom of the Newsmax that Canada and Trump are working on the Keystone Pipeline again. Good. Well, yeah, you knew that was going to happen. Let me see the breaking news on that. Thanks for the heads up, guys. I appreciate you. Over on Blockbuster and Bruce Radford and St. Hubert and Merlin Wizard and Coster. Look at all the new names. IV Laster Panda, whatever that is. Love you, Robert. Thank you, Rob. Thank you for checking it out, man. Dave Kim. Look at all the names. Look at all the new names over there. Rumble 2. We got Dookie Bear. You guys are my best buddies, man. And I got to meet some of you guys in Delaware. That was the biggest thrill. I mean, the biggest thrill. And I hope to get around the country more and more and more. I've been invited to do a speaking engagement in Delaware in February to the state's largest Republican organization, and I'm going to do the keynote. I'm getting invited to do a keynote. How cool is that? A keynote! So I'm going to incorporate comedy, and we're going to make it fun. We are going to make it fun. It's going to be pretty remarkable. I'm living the dream, man. I'm living the dream. I'm going to go to the friggin' Kennedy Center tonight for a big event. And then I'm being invited to a keynote. This is me. This is the guy who was selling cars 5 years ago. Oh, my God. The guy who was on food stamps 6 years ago. It is remarkable. It is remarkable. Corporate radio had said, hey, we don't want him. He's a music jock or whatever. Suckers! I love it. All right, hold on. How much time we got here? 6 seconds. Here we go. Let's do this. Turley, Comey. Yeah, we can do that. Trump. Oh. So you've been watching this Katie Porter from California. She's running for governor. She is a white Stacey Abrams. She's a white Stacey Abrams. She is, what a putrid individual. She did this interview with a CBS reporter, and she got all sorts of nuts on there and wasn't going to answer any questions. You've seen the video. I'll play it for you. I mean, you've already seen it, but I want to share it again.
Well, to those voters. Okay, so you...
I don't want to keep doing this. I'm going to call it. Okay. Thank you.
Wow.
You're not going to do the interview with us?
Nope, not like this. I'm not. Not with 7 follow-ups to every single question you ask.
Every other candidate has answered.
I don't care. I don't care. I want to have a pleasant, positive conversation, which you ask me about every...
I want you to kiss my substantial butt.
...issue on this list. And if every question, you're going to make up a follow-up question, then we're never going to...
This woman has so much arrogance and hubris, and also she's freaking out of her mind. She's nuts. She threw like a pot of boiling water on her husband. She's no longer married.
...get there.
Ms.
And
Porter,
we're just going to circle around.
I am an investigative
I have never
reporter.
had to do this before.
Oh, what an insufferable, awful, 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 awful woman. Here she is yelling at somebody for getting into her shot. And generally when it's a shot, when she's on camera, there's not a lot of room. There's not a lot of room to get in her shot.
And other problems, and the state could lose. Get out of my fucking shot.
I wanted to tell you that that's actually incorrect. It's not that it's electric vehicles. It's that if we don't meet the commitments under the Paris Climate Accord.
Okay, it does. Okay, you also were in my shot before that. Stay out of my shot.
Oh, she is so done. And have you seen her lately? I mean, there's nothing to like about this woman. Nothing. She's crazy. She's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. She's cray-cray.
So on election night, I went to pick up my daughter from water polo practice, and she's 12, and she got in the car and she was crying. And I said, did someone punch you? Like, water polo is a rough sport. I was like, did someone hit you? Did the coach yell at you? What happened? And she said, Mom, Trump won. Trump's going to win. And what if I get raped and I need to have an abortion?
Okay, the reason why your daughter thought that is because you've frigging terrified the bleep out of her entire life, you nutbag. I'm sure you've already talked about your daughter. Oh, you're feeling a little depressed? Well, you know what? Maybe you should get on puberty blockers. That's the sort of crazy cat lady mentality that is killing the Democrat Party, okay? Karens running around the country, including one running for governor in Virginia. Okay, this is about a pathos. This is about people who are not mentally right, busybodies who have decided to step forward, telling us how to live our lives, among other things. And honestly, there's no room for Karen. There's no room for Karen in any sort of governance, whether it be Abigail Spamberger or whether it be Katie Porter. Okay, go back to your cul-de-sac and be the leader of your HOA and be bossy. But honestly, you're not mentally stable enough to be in leadership. Let's take a break and come back. Last hour of the Rob Carson Show is right ahead. Don't go anywhere.
Hi, it's Tony Marino, host of the super popular Newsmax Daily Podcast, a rundown of the day's top headlines and top highlights of Newsmax shows and interviews you may have missed, plus some sports, stock markets, and even some yucks, all packed into about 20 minutes. Search for the Newsmax Daily with me, Tony Marino, on your favorite podcast platform, and check out our entire lineup of great podcasts, including Greg Kelly, Rob Carson, and Jerry Callahan at newsmax.com/listen.
Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
This is the Rob Carson Show, hour number 3 on this Thursday, the 9th of October. And a lot of stuff, obviously going on, and some good news with what's happening with Gaza and Hamas and all of that. We've discussed it as the show has gone on, and sometimes, a lot of times, I don't get to circle back to what I start the show with because there's so much stuff on the table. I would encourage you, though, if you start downloading the podcast every day, because maybe you're joining me in the third hour, maybe you join me in the second hour, and you might have missed what happened in the beginning of the first hour. Sometimes I can't weave and retrieve. I can't come back to a topic we cover at the beginning of the show because there's so much other stuff. So if you miss a part of the show, just subscribe to the podcast. I think you'll enjoy it. We're generally right on most things. And I would venture to say also, while using humor to make a point, we're also generally way ahead of the curve on things that are happening in the world. And we've been that way for a while. Everything from COVID nonsense to the southern border to the persecution of Donald Trump and to Hunter Biden's laptop to whatever, all of that stuff. And so just go to your usual podcast platforms and look up Rob Carson Show. All right, a Rob Carson Show, and subscribe if you please do that. Like on Spotify, there's a little bell, you ding it, and then you'll get a kind of an idea. It'll send you an alert when a new show's up. But we take the show every day and divide it into 3 segments. So it's basically the radio show, which is rebranded as a podcast. And if you would share it with other people, that would be really great. I would be very grateful if you would do that. It would mean a lot to me. So, but I think there's a lot of good things. I started the show also today talking about how, this Jay Jones, this guy running for Attorney General in the state of Virginia, exposed a lot about his character and temperament and the fact that he should never be in law enforcement because he threatened to, he fantasized about murdering the then House Speaker in the state of Virginia, I believe. He said he wanted to put 2 bullets in his skull and kill his children. I'm paraphrasing, of course, but yeah, might have actually been worse. And you got a lot of Democrats going, I know, and a lot of people talk about putting 2 bullets in your opponent's skull and killing his children. I mean, who hasn't done that? Honestly, I was just sitting around one night, you're talking, you're just texting your friend. Yeah, what's going on? Just watching the game. Cool. Thinking about getting some pizza. Yeah. I was thinking about how much I'd like to kill my opponent with 2 bullets in their head and then murder his children. Yeah, and you send, and then it's like, question mark response. Oh, nothing. I wasn't thinking about it. I mean, everybody talks about that. Yeah, not so much. Jason Miyares is now out in front. Jason Miyares, his Republican opponent we hope to get on the show, is now in front of Jay Jones. And I hope that this will trickle up and trickle down to the other races in the state of Virginia, including the race for governor, where you have an unqualified Karen in charge, or wants to run for the governor, in Abigail Spamberger. I call her Abigail Spamberger because there's no meat, just a bunch of filler. And so Abigail Spamberger should not be the governor. And honestly, Virginia, you think about the progress the state has made with its Republican governor after all of the nonsense that they pulled in schools with CRT and DEI and all of the transgender nonsense. Thomas Jefferson High School used to be the number 1 high school in America, but thanks to the woke left, dropped dramatically. And honestly, Virginia, you're smarter and better than this. Don't just think this is about government employees and their jobs. I realize a lot of people in Northern Virginia work for the government, but don't let that be your guide exclusively, because honestly, do you want a woman in office who has 3 daughters, who's fine with men showering with their damn daughters in the men's room and pretending to be boys? I mean, honestly, that makes about as much sense as electing somebody who fantasizes about putting 2 bullets in their opponent's head and murdering their children. Are you kidding me? You're smarter than this. Dear God. Jason Miyares is out in front. Thank you very much. Kathy Hochul's support for Zoran Mandami may cost her Ilyse Stefanik, who should be the next governor. She's just 5 points behind the governor. The poll shows that the race is at 48 and 43. The New York Post reports that a 5 percentage point lead against potential 2026 Republican challenger Ilyse Stefanik, and loses that advantage when likely voters hear about the support of Zoran Mandami. by Kathy Hochul. Kathy Hochul has said, "Oh, and I want a communist anti-Semite to be the mayor of New York because she's an idiot." Then it becomes a 46, basically it's an even race, 46.4% to 45.9%. Because Kathy Hochul lacks the good judgment to say no to a communist who wants to kill, who supports organizations that want to kill the Jews. Yeah, so there's that. There is that, honestly. You've got to elect people who have good judgment, not just based on your job, as a government worker, honestly, or whatever. And I'm not meaning to come down on government workers. Listen, I work in radio. I've been in radio for 36 years. I've been fired 4 times. I've been out of work 5 years. I lost my house. I was on food stamps 6 years ago. Okay, I know what it's like. Trust me. I've had a few hurdles. I'll just put it that way. High hurdles, actually. High hurdles. Naked. Yeah. My life has been like high hurdles, naked, frying bacon with no lid. That's what my life's been like. That's it's not pleasant. No, I know. I just given you a visual. You can't. You need brain bleach, but it's not going to work. It's not going to work. So yesterday was this hearing on. It was a meeting. It was a meeting like Donald Trump is known to do, like he's doing today. I haven't been able to really watch the cabinet meeting, the Super Friends meeting, but Donald Trump invited a bunch of journalists and Pam Bondi and others to the White House to talk about Antifa, and the left is acting like Antifa doesn't exist, even though. Are you kidding? Honestly. Erin Burnett on CNN acting like, oh, yeah, Proud Boys is much more organized. Shut up. Antifa is propped up by billions of dollars from people like Neville Roy Singham, from people like George Soros, Open Society Network, among others, plus also $100 million in U.S. taxpayer money flowing through the NGOs that support Antifa. So honestly, Erin Burnett, just go do something. Because you're not a journalist and you're not intelligent enough to have a show. It just laughable. Yesterday, Brandy Cruz was on the panel talking about her experience. She said she used to be a really anti-Trump until she saw what's going on with Antifa that is well-funded to the tune of billions of dollars, has done billions of dollars worth of damage, has murdered, has injured thousands of police officers in this country, and is a worldwide terrorist organization. Other than that, Erin Burnett thinks that they're nothing.
I'm living proof that you can recover from TDS. I had strong Trump derangement syndrome for probably 8 years. This is one of the reasons I recovered from it. And by the way, it's much better to not have TDS.
Oh, yeah.
I'm happier, I'm healthier, more successful. I even think I got a little more attractive after I got rid of my Trump derangement syndrome. Yes. Definitely. I'm a reporter in Seattle, and frankly, I could not care any less what any of you have to say about this meeting. Could not care any less. We're not here for you. I'm not here to convince any of you that Antifa is a real thing, because if you have not come to that conclusion by now, you are never going to come to that conclusion because you don't want to see it. Yes. And you're going to go and you're going to say it's a bunch of right-wing conservative influencers who are here spinning a tale. I was one of you. Yeah. I was a mainstream reporter in Seattle for 10 years. I was a TV reporter on the streets doing my job, and I was still assaulted by Antifa. So it's not about being conservative. It's about people who go there and show. Yeah, and you know what, honestly, if you don't see that, you're just, I don't even know what you are. You're just a propagandist, for God's sake. Here is a Portland business owner. Despite the mayor and the governor, who, by the way, is Gray Skull Maddow. She's like a Gray Rachel Maddow, but I call her Gray Skull or Gray Chull Maddow. She's acting like it doesn't exist because she's an insane Karen, just like the rest of them. But here's a Portland business owner being interviewed about what's been going on in Portland.
Has crime impacted your businesses?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, yesterday morning, I was broken again for the 10th time. Yeah. I will say that the police responded very quickly, which was better ticket times as far as getting them to the site quickly.
Yeah. So 10 times there. Here's another Portland business owner, because Antifa is real. It's a worldwide organization that's well-funded, and it's caused billions of dollars worth of damage and has a body count.
I mean, our businesses, we already struggle every day, every week with the crime and the drugs and, just the unsafeness that comes with being here in our city right now. It's like our leaders have abandoned public safety.
Yeah, because they are denying it is even happening. Here's J.B. J.B. Pritzker and Brandon Johnson, a little montage, and J.B. Pritzker, he says, come on, Trump, come after me.
Fox News alert, President Trump just announced a major deal between Israel and Hamas, which will be signed within hours.
Yeah, it was.
Senior correspondent Kevin Cork has the details.
Oh.
Kevin.
Evening, Jesse. History.
I did not want to go to that. I wanted to go to this.
Will withdraw their troops to an agreed upon.
That is the wrong soundbite. I know you were disappointed because you wanted to hear J.D. Titzler, but we don't have that. Here is Stephen Miller taking down another CNN anchor who tried to deny that Antifa exists.
No, they are actually, as we speak, trying to overthrow the core law enforcement function of the federal government.
Yeah.
Of course, this is, I think, where we're talking past each other. When ICE officers have to street battle against Antifa, hand-to-hand combat every night to come and go from their building, when they try to exit in a vehicle, when they are swarmed and surrounded and they try to tip the vehicle over, when people bring weapons to an ICE facility to try to engage in direct violent assault against ICE officers, what is the purpose? It is to prevent Immigration and Customs Enforcement from carrying out the mission the American people elected them to do. Their objective is to make it impossible for ICE to carry out ICE enforcement. When in our history have we tolerated unlawful riotous assemblies night after night around FBI buildings,
Never.
or ATF buildings,
Never.
or DEA buildings?
Never.
This is the textbook definition of domestic terrorism, using the actual and imminent threat of violence to keep federal officials from doing their job.
Remember when I told you that the children were going to need a spanking? I said that in 2020. I said the children doing this are going to need a spanking. And then when this election rolled around, I said, Daddy is going to be home. And then I said, Daddy is home. Well, guess what? Daddy's home. Antifa's up in their room with the door shut, and they're about to get the spanking of a friggin' lifetime. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
Street protesters, we've had our fill, but Randy Fine has a bill, says move them on over, run them all over, run over protesters blocking all our roads. The Thump Thump bill is what it's called. I'm sure the left will be appalled, but move them on over. Run them all over. Step on the gas if they won't step aside. Sure, it might leave a dent, but make them a hood ornament. Run them all over. Thump them all over. If they block our streets, they'll get what they deserve. Drugs transported by boat, Venezuela. You best take note. Cartels, they're having fits, 'cause their men, they were blown to bits. The drug boat It now resides on the ocean floor. The drug boat. Marco says we're gonna take out more. Yes, their lives are in danger if they take another chance. 'Cause drugs we won't tolerate. Shut it down before it's too late. No drugs. A boat that was filled with drugs.
Relentlessly slowing the spread of the stupid every day. It's the Rob Carson Show.
They're mad because the truth is being shown. Antifa has been running their operation in a building right next to an ICE facility for over 100 days. The legacy media has never even gone to show what was happening there. And it just took a few independent journalists like myself to show America what was actually happening. Portland PD, they would not stand up for the independent journalists when it was very obvious. There was video footage of them getting attacked by some of these Antifa members, and it just happened that for some reason these independent journalists could actually...
Here's the journalist Nick Shirley.
...beat these Antifa guys in a fight when it came down to it, and they arrested them.
Yeah, they said they were going to smoke you. What do you think he was saying?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think he was literally saying he was going to kill me.
Yeah.
My God.
If snipers were not there that night, I don't know what would have happened. He had me pinned against the road. He had his helmet off, ready to smash me. And when I was walking back to my car that same night, another Antifa member flashed his gun to a few guys that were walking with me, said that he was going to make me Kirk Jr.
Wow. Antifa's armed?
Yeah, they have...
That's not what Erin Burnett said. That CNN would deny Antifa is just, honestly, last nail in the coffin, grab the straps, lower it into the ground, and start shoveling the dirt. My God, you frigging people. So stupid. John in Dundalk wants to talk. Hello, John. Welcome to the Rob Carson Show. Thanks for holding.
Hey, Rob. How are you today?
Couldn't be better, brother.
Good. Just wanted to say that, I watched that thing yesterday with the reporters and Antifa. And I've given up on the Democrats a long time ago. As far as I'm concerned, they're about the corn in a pile of Adam Schiff.
Yes.
But just sit there and listen to some of the stuff that people like Andy No said, and the lady who had the black eye. I just wanted to say that if the Democrats don't see that what a threat that these guys pose, they're never going to come up to you one-on-one.
Can I explain something just real quick? Let me explain something to you. They see it because they're part of it. They see it because they're part of it. Dude, $100 million of our tax money has gone to support these groups. They see it because they're part of it. They are an extension of the Democrat Party. End of story. It's not about whether they see it or not. They are an integral part about it. They have these soldiers nationwide so they can deny any accountability. They use the language like this to inspire them to commit violence. The Democrat Party is a part of this. That's it. That's that. There's no debate that they don't know anything about it. And sooner or later, it's going to get right back back to them. So I just want to tell you that. Enough of this debate about if they don't understand it by now, they're part of it. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say, since they won't come up to you one-on-one, I'm waiting for the day. I'm 74 years old.
Yeah.
Studied martial arts for 13 years. Yep. I'm just waiting for one of them to come up and call me a Nazi.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
So
we need to react defensively. Here's the thing. Trump's going to handle this. Trump and the National Guard and the DOJ are going to handle this. But if they want to strike at us defensively, then we kick their asses. That's just it. That's why I came up with the expression homeboys, hillbillies, and Hebrews. Because those jackweeds, the day on October the 7th who went to Times Square and said, we need to make October the 7th bigger, just take a swing at us.
You bet.
All right, bro. Thanks for the phone call. The Democrat Party knows it. The Democrat Party knows it. This is a wing of the Democrat Party. They use words like fascist, Nazi. This is why their voters went after Tesla dealerships. This is why one of the donors for Joe Biden set the damned Palisades fire. Okay, and also the guy who wanted to blow up the cathedral in D.C. on October the 5th, a Democrat. They have their marching orders. The Democrat Party is doing this. They're feeding them marching orders, and they are denying any accountability when the acts of violence happen. But when their words show up on shell casings, like on the one that killed Charlie Kirk, duh. I mean, what else do you need to know? God. What else do you need to know? That the Democrat Party is not on the side of peace, the future of the country. They want to take the country down. My God. Do you know why I know this? Because I'm not stupid. Okay, let me see. Gold is at $3,972 an ounce today. Silver at almost $50. That's today, right now. Gold went over $4,000 the other day. Buy now gold and you get free silver. That's right. For every $5,000 purchased this month in advance of Veterans Day, they will send you a free patriotic silver round that commemorates the Gadsden and American flags. If you're streaming, I'm going to show it to you right now. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Isn't that cool? Look, I'm going to do a mad magic trick. And it disappeared. Ooh. Anyway, I'm going to keep this right here. I'm going to carry it with me. I'm going to flip it just like an old school gumshoe reporter. Just keep it in my pocket, Maybe the next time I go to the casino, just flip it in there. I never go to the casino because I would lose all my money. Gold is up over 40% since the beginning of the year. Birch Gold can help you by converting it into taking your existing IRA or 401k and converting it into gold, tax-sheltered gold. How cool is that? Plus, they'll send you a free silver honoring the veterans on qualifying purchases. Get it done today. Text my name, Rob, to 989898. Rob to 989898. You'll get free information. Claim your eligibility for free silver with a qualifying purchase before the end of the month. Silver's almost $50 an ounce. $50 an ounce. Gold just went over $4,000 an ounce. Why are you not investing in precious metals? Why are you not talking to Birch Gold? You need to. All right? There you go. I got my coin. I almost scared you because that magic trick was so amazing. You were like, where did it go? Did it disappear into the ether? No, it's right here. I got you. If you were here, I'd pull it out from behind your ear. Coming up, Ben Weingarten talking about peace in the Middle East and Gaza. That's on the other side of this break, and this is the Rob Carson Show.
tremendous help, as you know, with everybody from Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner and Marco, and we had everybody. JD, the whole group was just amazing, and the military was, as you know, very instrumental in getting this done. We have a great military with great leadership. The whole world came together, to be honest. So many countries that you wouldn't have even thought of it. They came together. The world has come together around this deal. And that's something I would say that without that wouldn't happen. So many countries that you wouldn't have thought of have wired their best wishes and their commitment to do whatever is necessary. The countries surrounding have all signed. I mean, they're all signed up, and it's been really an amazing period of time, and so great for Israel, so great for Muslims, for the Arab countries, and so great for this country, for the United States of America, and that we could be involved in, making a deal like this happen. Because
that is President Trump last night talking with Hannity about this peace deal, which, by the way, is not complete. There was a 21-point agreement that Hamas would have to come and agree to. Right now, really what we have is a ceasefire, and then Israeli hostages are expected to be released on Monday. I don't know. I wanted to see Hamas bombed into the Stone Age. I'll just be honest. I wanted special forces brought in to just kill them all. But again, I can't. Sometimes you don't get what you wish for. But obviously, there are more deliberate minds out there. And what Donald Trump is doing, I believe, is 3D chess, starting with what happened in Qatar and Saudi, and then the bombing of the nuclear facilities in Iran, and all sorts of stuff going on. Ben Weingarten is a senior contributor to The Federalist, also editor-at-large at Real Clear Investigations. How you doing, my friend?
Rob, I'm well. Thanks for having me.
Okay, brother. I want your take, man, because I got mine, and I'm not an expert on this. I got my gut. I'm watching some puzzle pieces come together. What do you think's going on, man?
Well, I think, first of all, you were wise to talk a little bit to the broader context about what's transpired in the Middle East, which is that essentially Iran has been largely decapitated. Yes. Iran is the world's leading state sponsor of jihad, and it has all of its jihadist tentacles, including Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis, so-called militias in Iraq and other groups, and they have been largely laid in ruins. Hamas is sort of the last direct and immediate threat among the Iranian proxies to Israel, and it's held out for 2 years, and it's been able to hold out for 2 years precisely because it has leveraged the hostages. And yes. So consequently, that's why, to your point, Hamas hasn't been flattened and destroyed. And I by the way, I share your sentiment.
Yes.
I don't think there's any scenario ultimately where you can envision a Gaza that is not a threat to Israel without the elimination of the jihadist 100%. Forces there. And it may end up that way, by the way, because I think you were also right to frame this as we have an exchange of hostages for many times the number of jihadists. But what comes next, potentially all bets are off. And there is a scenario where essentially Hamas and other parties on the ground don't comply with the other points in the plan. And then you see Israel go in and do what it probably should have done immediately after October 7th, and certainly all along in the couple of years since.
What is that? Hold on. There's a delicate expression that people have been using, and there's an acronym for it. It's FAFO. Isn't that what we're thinking of here? Isn't that what we're thinking of? We get the hostages, and then FAFO. Just bring it. Just break a twig walking toward Israel, Hamas. Give them a reason, right?
That's exactly it. And the question is going to be if we see, and there's been reports that because part of this initial phase is that Israeli forces withdraw to a certain line.
Yes.
And there's been reporting to suggest that Hamas forces are going to basically immediately fill that vacuum. And we don't know what the details are about, okay, what is the threshold for when Israel is then allowed to go in and eliminate those threats? Is Israel going to be blamed with breaking a ceasefire? Are you going to have pressure from all the Arab countries, should that be the case? So you can see very quickly how this becomes something that is not so black and white as hostages for many multiples of terrorists. So I think what we can say now is everyone is going to celebrate the release of these hostages. But what comes next? The jury is definitely out. And let's not forget that those hostages don't come at a substantial cost. They come at a cost of 250 of the worst kinds of jihadists, life sentence prisoners, as well as 1,700 Gazans who were detained after October 7th. These are future terrorists that are being released, 2,000 of them plus. There were future terrorists who were released in the Gilad Shalit hostage for terrorist exchange, including Yahya Sinwar, who was the mastermind of October 7th. So this is very fraught, very perilous, and when we look to the other parts of the plan, the first point of the plan is, I'll read directly from it.
Please.
Gaza will be a de-radicalized, terror-free zone that does not pose a threat to its neighbors. How do you get to that point? Filling in those details are sort of the whole ball game with respect to Gaza not being a threat to Israel. And what you're talking about is how do you denazify a population that was given Gaza, elected Hamas, supported Hamas, and continues to support Hamas in substantial numbers today, that has been indoctrinated for generations in a worldview that is rooted in genocidal Jew hatred and a belief that Islam must conquer all infidels, dominate not just all the Middle East and Jewish land in the Middle East, but the entire world. Donald Trump presents a vision of peace and prosperity that's rooted in rational self-interest, and there's a conflicting vision, which is of Islamic conquest and dominance, and those two visions are in a battle right now, and we'll have to see which one prevails.
Well, I think ultimately FAFO, and I believe that. Donald Trump right now holds all the cards. You mentioned a ball game. It's a card game. Donald Trump has the cards right now. He went to Qatar. He went to Saudi Arabia. He's given the other Arab states the opportunity of peace and prosperity on earth or an early grave. That's what you're going to get. They have invested also trillions of dollars. They want to, listen, there's always going to be a radical element, but you had mentioned at the beginning of the conversation that Iran, their last proxy really after their decapitation is Hamas. So the opportunity for Hamas to enrich itself, etc., is not going to happen. But if you take, Donald Trump will have all the cards when those hostages are released and then screw around. And I don't really think, first of all, I don't think Benjamin Netanyahu gives a rat's behind what the world thinks if they decide to pull some more crap. I don't believe he will give a flying bleep about what the world thinks if some sort of the ceasefire is breached, because Hamas will be disarmed, and if they screw around, they're going to get it. That's what I think. I mean, maybe I'm simplifying things here, Ben, but I think Donald Trump has the cards right now, and he's been playing a master class and maybe this is why he owns all the casinos. Ben, what do you think?
Well, I certainly think that we held the cards, and that created the pressure on the Turks, on the Qataris, on the Egyptians to pressure Hamas to ultimately give up the hostages, and we're assuming that is going to happen. But let's assume that does happen. Absent that pressure on them, we certainly wouldn't be here. And I think what you're pointing to is essentially, he is saying that the Arab world has to be responsible for putting a lid on the jihadism in Gaza. Yes. And then there are all these potential upsides to it with the economic development and the like. Yes. So the test has been put to the Arab world and the leaders there. And the question is ultimately, do they believe that has American pressure as well as their own self-interest in leading their countries, does that trump essentially, first of all, the practical challenge of trying to keep a lid on jihadism in a Gaza that is a terror enclave?
Now, Ben, can you hold on? Can you hold the rest of that thought? We have a break here in the middle of the interview. Can you come back on the other side of the break?
Sure thing.
All right, brother. Ben Weingarten on the radio program. We'll be back in just one moment. You are listening to The Rob Carson Show. Hey, guys, it's Carson for Birch Gold. Let me be blunt. Gold is up 40% this year.
announced that we have reached a deal for ceasefire to put an end to the aggression and also to proceed to a permanent ceasefire and the withdrawal of the army and to allow the aid to enter to Gaza and to open the Rafah crossing from both sides.
That is Hamas declaring an end to the war in Gaza. As we know, radical Islam is known for lying, completely lying when their real intentions are fairly obvious. They will do anything they can to get past whatever hurdle they have so they can go ahead and resume their hatred of Israel. That's why we have to be so cautious about this ceasefire. What I'm hoping is that the hostages will be released on Monday and Hamas tries something so that Israel can go in and wipe them off the face of the earth. Because FAFO. Ben Weingarten, the senior contributor for the Federalist, editor-at-large at Real Clear Investigations, joins us on the Newsmax Hotline. And I'm not sure if you recall what you left off before the break, but your further ruminations with regard to the possibility of peace in the Middle East.
No, I appreciate that, and I think the scenario that you laid out is a good bet. It's past this prologue. I mean, you've seen the Palestinian Arabs been offered so many generous deals throughout the decades, and they literally blow up the opportunities before them. And so will they be able to contain themselves this time? Very hard to imagine a scenario where that's the case.
Well, you've got pride, fanaticism, and ignorance working for them. You know, sometimes you know what I'm talking about? It's like, hold my beer. Hold my beer.
Right.
Right.
All at the same time. And so will they be shrewder this time? Is yet to be seen. But I think to your point, and this was a wise one, you talk about strategic lying essentially to advance the Islamic cause, and that's something that is baked into, it's religiously sanctioned.
Of course it is. Of course
it's baked into the religion itself. So the question here is this a temporary cessation of hostilities and rebuilding for the next set of pogroms and then wars that follow in response to them with all the associated costs? Or is this actually a path where you're going to have the Sunni Arab potentates and rulers of other nations come in and essentially subdue the jihadist forces and take responsibility for administering Gaza with real skin in the game here, and all of the benefits that the U.S. has potentially put out there? And let's remember, all of these parties have an interest on being on America's good side, whether it's the Turks, the F-35s, whether it's the Egyptians with their need for a constant U.S. aid and stability, or whether it's obviously Qatar, which got this guarantee of American defense to the extent it gets attacked. So they are all bought in, and there are inducements waiting for them. And this policy is really in keeping with the first Trump administration's policy, which is we want America out of the Middle East largely. We want it to be a prosperous and a peaceful place. And we need Israel and the Sunni Arab partners, to the extent they have shared interests, including countering Iran and including countering all the Islamic supremacist forces in the region, to work together to suppress them so that there can be genuine peace and prosperity, expansion of the Abraham Accords, etc., and the U.S. can retrench from the region and focus on other higher and more pressing issues. This is in line with that worldview, and the question is, can it work in a place that is essentially a terrorist enclave?
Now, maybe I'm missing some. Maybe I'm missing something here, Ben, but I didn't see any missiles being launched from American battleships, and I didn't see any boots on the ground this time like it was with Desert Storm and Desert Shield in Afghanistan. It's weird, isn't it? Isn't that kind of weird, Ben? Isn't that kind of weird? It's a completely different approach, brother. Have you ever seen anything like this? And you know what else? I loved last night that he brought up. I didn't realize nobody knew what all these tariffs were about. You're thinking it's just we're going to ruin our economy and Look what he did. He used the tariffs to bring peace between friggin' India and Pakistan. You didn't know that, did you? He did it. He said, okay, you know what, here's the deal. How about I just make everything so cost prohibitive from us, and we don't, make your products worthless so you can't fund your wars. I mean, friggin' brilliant move on his part. The tariffs were part of the whole overall peace plan. It's remarkable.
It's very simple and elegant, but very effective. You use every lever of American power that you can. You have the credible threat of massive, catastrophic military force, which you use in very narrow situations, overwhelmingly and disproportionately, to deter your enemies. And you deal with people as they are, not as you wish them to be. And that is how you actually secure America's interests, and you advance peace and prosperity in the world. And the challenge here is obviously that you have that sort of hard-headed, realistic worldview up against fanatics. And that's a perpetual challenge that will always be the challenge. But I do think one thing that the president definitely appreciates is that in the Middle East, the strong course rules. And we are now in a situation where Israel is the strong course in that region, and that, of course, redounds to America's interest.
And we didn't even need Desert Storm, Desert Shield, Desert Patty Shields, chemical weapons of mass destruction, any of that nonsense. It is quite remarkable, isn't it? Isn't it quite remarkable after the string of military maneuvers and the piles of bodies that have resulted in failure ever since? Let's hope this works out. Ben Weingarten, a real pleasure talking to you, man. Where can people find all of your work, man?
Yep, you can find me on X at BH Weingarten and subscribe to my Substack for all my writing and commentary. And that's at weingarten.substack.com.
Well, it's great to have you on. You speak much more delicately than I do, to say the least, but brilliant points. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Care of our own. That's why RP9, a veteran-owned business, is proud to serve our neighbors right here at home. If you've got property ready to sell, whether a house or land, RP9 makes it simple. We buy real estate for cash as is, with no inspections, no fees, and no commissions. The offer we make is the dollar amount you'll see at closing, and here's the best part. We can close. Ken just reminded me I'm on camera. Sorry, I was responding some tweets and stuff. I appreciate that. I apologize. I'm a little busy today. Dookie Bear. BO5. What? BF05? You're new. I've seen you before. BF05 is like BR549? That was a Junior Samples car dealership number on Hee Haw, by the way. Did you know that? It's also a band name. So there you go. I apologize. I got busy. We got one more break here, by the way. One more break before we come back and say goodbye. Here we go.
People need to understand how intrusive and outrageous this is. That, various people contact senators and members of Congress, from whistleblowers to just straight witnesses, to give them information. This type of data can reveal those associations, those contacts, when they were made. It's very intrusive. It's very dangerous. And to hear some Democratic politicians and pundits shrug this off is really outrageous. But fortunately,
they're talking about surveilling of senators, and here is Jonathan Turley talking about Jim Comey, who was arraigned yesterday in Alexandria, Virginia, where I live.
You have Comey planning to make a selective prosecution argument that this is the type of conduct that other people do, and that he's been singled out by the Justice Department. This is Comey who virtually trapped the former national security advisor of Donald Trump, who admitted that he sort of broke protocol and sent 2 guys over to Michael Flynn's office.
I live in Alexandria now, near the courthouse where Jim Comey was arraigned yesterday, and they had a bunch of these idiot hired protesters saying, they're against his prosecution. I suggest the next time some of my homies and me go over there and make some big signs that say, put him in jail for life, or imprison the B word, or something like. What do you think? Would that be fun? I think it'd be kind of fun. Since I live right there, might as well stir it up a little bit while I'm living here in Alexandria. That'd be kind of fun. I want to next time he comes in, he sneaked in the back door because he's a big P word. He sneaked in the back door because he doesn't want to be held accountable. Yeah, I talked all big and everything, was the FBI director, and he was, putting people in jail who didn't belong in jail and surveilling people and all that. And he's going to get his comeuppance. I hope he ends up going to jail for a very long time. Maybe the next time he's in court, I'll have to go over there and invite you guys to join me. Does that sound like fun? I think it sounds like fun. That's going to do it for the show today. This was epic. This was a big one. If you get a chance to check out the podcast, please do, and subscribe. Just go to your usual podcast platforms. Look up Rob Carson Show over there on let's see, everywhere. It's on iHeartRadio. It's on everywhere. Spotify. Click on the bell on Spotify and subscribe to all of them if you would. I'd greatly appreciate it. In the meantime, tomorrow's Friday. I'm going to the Kennedy Center tonight. I'll give you a full report. God bless you, America's founded Donald Trump, as he kicks Antifa's ass in the state of Israel and you guys. And until tomorrow, do not catch the stupid. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real.